Hi everyone, welcome to the AP2V Academy. I'm Sachin Sani. I'll be your instructor for the DevOps Foundation. I've been in IT for the last 3 years. I have been working with the AP2V Academy for the last 2.5 years as an instructor. AP2V Academy provides the training in all trending technologies and the all trending programming languages. And the DevOps Foundation is one of them. Because if you want to go for a DevOps engineer, okay, DevOps will be a different level you have to cover inside of DevOps, because you have to cover the DevOps level 1, 2, 3. But before covering the DevOps, you have to cover the DevOps Foundation. And why it's important? Because in case of DevOps Foundation, we will learn the basic concept of the Linux-based operating system here. Because if you want to go for a DevOps, so you have to deploy your applications on top of any operating system. Most of the time, often all the operating system are the Linux based. It could be a Ubuntu operating system, it could be a RHEL, it could be a CentOS. So because you have to know the basics of the Linux, right? So in this course, we will learn about the very basics of the Linux, which is required for the DevOps. And now the duration of the course will be 8 hours. And now what topics we're gonna cover, let me describe all the topics here. So we're gonna cover the chapter first. In the chapter 1, we will learn about the introduction of the Linux, what is actually Linux is, and what different operating system we're gonna use inside the Linux. We will learn the very basic history of the Linux operating system inside the chapter 1. Inside the chapter 2, we will learn about the AWS Cloud Computing. And now this is a little bit different from the normal DevOps Foundation. But why we are learning, actually in case of DevOps, when you will go for a DevOps here, so you need some Linux machine, right? And now if you have enough hardware in your machine, you will be able to download you will be able to install the virtual machine in your machine. Okay, so yeah, that's working fine. But if you don't have enough hardware in your local machine, then you have to go on top of cloud. To deploy your machine, you have to work on top of those machines. So how can you simply take a ranked machines over the AWS cloud? So we will learn inside this particular service. So in this service, we will learn about how can you simply deploy a EC2 instance on top of the AWS cloud. So this is the chapter second. In chapter 3, we will learn about the accessing the command line and what does it mean. So simply how can you connect your Linux machine via the terminal? How can you simply get the SSH over your machines? So how can you simply connect your machines via the command line or the GUI rather than you can simply use any one of them options. So we will learn about the basic command line as well as connections of the machines inside the chapter 3. After that, we will learn the chapter 4 here. We will go for a chapter 4. Inside the chapter 4, we will learn about the Linux system hierarchy. And what is it? We will learn about the Linux file system hierarchy, because instead of Windows, there's a different file system hierarchy you will get inside the Linux. In case of Windows, your file system will be start from a C drive, D drive, E drive. That was an example. But in case of Linux, your whole file system will be start from a single slash. Okay, how can you simply locate your file? How can you simply find your file using the name? How can you simply create your files using this particular method? So we will learn all those things inside the chapter 4 to edit your files and then configure your file as well as. After that, we have to go for a chapter 5. In case of chapter 5, we will learn about the user management, user and group management. In this chapter, we will learn how can you simply add users in your machine, as well as how can you simply add groups. And we will also learn how can you simply add multiple users inside a group, as well as how can you simply give the permissions of a super user to normal users. So we will learn all the user management inside the chapter 5. After that, we will go for a chapter 6. That's all about the permissions of the Linux file as well as for directories. Who will be able to access a particular file, who will not be able to access those files. So we will learn about the all permissions theory inside the chapter 6. And we will do the practical as well in all the chapters. After that, we have to learn about the chapter 7. Inside the chapter 7, we will learn about the monitoring and the managing Linux processes. When you will execute any application, when you will run any application in your machine, behind this particular application, there's a service, okay? And behind the service, there's a lots of processes you will be execute. So how can you simply manage those processes? If you would like to kill particular process, okay, that particular process will take more memory in your machine, okay, and there's a no need of that particular process. So how can you simply kill those processes? Okay, if you like to execute the background process as well as, so how can you simply manage all those processes? We will learn inside the chapter 7. In chapter 8, we will learn about the controlling the services and the daemons. just I have told you there's this multiple services you will get in your machine as well as the daemons. So, and what is actually daemons is, daemons are the all process which are executed in the background. Only there you can simply send the input and output to the daemons. And now how can you simply execute your services at the backend if some service have been stopped? So how can you simply restart your service? So all those type of commands we will learn inside the chapter. Right? Sometimes you have to install the new packages and the new services as well as. So, and now if you like to start those services, so you have to learn about the chapter 8. In this chapter, we will learn all those things. And the chapter 9 is the last chapter of this particular foundation course. In this course, in this chapter, we will learn about how can you simply configure a network on top of a Linux box. Because in case of Windows, you can simply open the network manager setting by the graphical console and you will be connected to your network. But in case of Linux, how can you simply configure a network using the command line, using the nmcli command? So how can you simply configure a network on top of a Linux box? We will learn inside the chapter 9. So, and now once you will done this course, after that, you can simply go for a DevOps, because in case of DevOps, you have to install multiple packages there. You have to start multiple services. Sometimes you have to build the processes as well as, so sometimes you have to configure the network on top of the different machines, because when you will use a multiple machines, so all the machines should be connected, right? So all those things, that's why you have to cover this particular syllabus before. Thank you.